Sunday on the Fan is brought to you by ELEC 825, building our future. We'll begin on the diamond where Jazz Chisholm Jr. continued to punish the Red Sox on Saturday, finishing 3 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBI in the Yankees' 5-3 victory. That's 3 straight multi-hit games for the Yankees' second baseman. Aaron Boone says Chisholm is locked in.
He put together a really good at bat to where, he got a heater and absolutely demolished it to right. So, he's doing a really good job of getting himself into good counts, making good swing decisions, and that's what's allowing him to, really flourish.
Chisholm is now batting .351 in 11 games against the Red Sox this season. The Mets' misery continued on Saturday as they fell to the Rangers 3-2 for their 8th straight loss. The Mets are now 31-49 in their last 80 games. However, Juan Soto with this message to the fan base.
Keep hoping, because we're going to turn these around. We're going out there, we're giving our 100% every night. So there's nothing else we can do. We just playing hard, busting our ass, and seeing what happens.
The Dodgers beat the Giants last night, so for the time being, the Mets remain in control of the National League's final wild card spot. College football, Rutgers made easy work of Norfolk State 60-10, while Stony Brook, they handled Fordham 41-18. NFL this afternoon, the Giants are in Arlington, the battle of the Cowboys. Coverage here on the Fan begins at 11 a.m., and the Jets are at the Meadowlands taking on the Bills. Buffalo is 24-6 against divisional opponents since 2020. Which is the NFL's best divisional record in that span. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. 64 degrees under sunny skies in Central Park, and that's what's happening. I'm Tony Pierno.
Your friends pretend they know sports. WFAN actually does. Get smarter, louder, and way more annoying at watch parties. The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always streaming on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. It's Sunday morning. Time to take a spin around the NFL. This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM. Here's your host, Nick Kostos.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry week 2 NFL Sunday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet on the Fan. Nick Kostos here with you for the next 60 minutes, talking all things betting and fantasy, week number 2 in the National Football League. You can hit me up on Twitter at the Kostos, TheKostos. I'm on Instagram at the same handle, TheKostos. Lots of betting content posted on Instagram at the Kostos, TheKostos. Did I mention that handle? The Kostos, TheKostos. The show is on Twitter or X or whatever it's called at You Better You Bet. And the show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. The phone number today to chime in on bets, on fantasy, on football. 888-808-1019, 888-808-1019. All right, you know how we do. Nick Kostos and you, each and every NFL Sunday morning here on The Fan. Side total and props for every game on the board. In the fastest show in all of Wagertainment. And it starts right now. Eddie, bring it up. Yes. Yes. Let's do it. Football. 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 The show begins today in the Jersey Meadowlands. I'm in Staten Island right now. We're like 20 minutes away from that. At MetLife Stadium with the New York Jets. Perhaps you, the person listening right now. And shout out to everybody watching right now on YouTube, on the WFAN YouTube page. Perhaps you, the person watching. Perhaps you root for the New York Jets. And if that's the case, I hope you're excited for this game today. after the effort that we saw last week from Aaron Glenn and his team. No moral victories in the National Football League. You know, Jerry Eisenberg's great NFL book about the 1989 New York Football Giants titled No Medals for Trying. And you know, in life, I also feel like there's no medals for trying, really, even though we're in this participation trophy culture where everybody's great and everybody gets an attaboy. Oh, look how awesome everyone is, even if they lose. No. You're supposed to try and win. That's the point of this whole thing, especially in professional football. And no, the New York Jets did not win last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But man, were they impressive in defeat. And like I said last week, and like I've been saying all offseason long, I love the direction that Aaron Glenn and Darren Moog, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, Moogie or Moogie. I love the direction that the New York Jets are going in as a franchise. Starting with letting Aaron Rodgers walk, even if I love Aaron Rodgers, and I do. And you saw it on display last week. And I got to eat some crow. And there were a lot of Jets fans tweeting me. A lot of Jets fans sending me messages on Instagram. They were furious with me. Hey, Nick, you idiot. You were so wrong on Justin Fields. You're right. I was wrong on Justin Fields, at least for 1 week. He was magnificent last week, not just running, but throwing the football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you wanted to call me an idiot last week, you had no shortage of things to choose from. How about Baltimore on Sunday night? That was fun. Up 40-25 with just under 4 to play and lose and don't cover the spread. But you know, that's a story for week 1. We turn the page to week numero dos. So the New York Jets coming into this game, despite that loss, with some momentum. And how about Armand Membu, rookie offensive tackle, ragdolling TJ Watt, like not a curtain-jerking scrub jabroni here. Ragdolling TJ Watt. He looks like an absolute star. Even without Elijah Vera Tucker, this Jets offensive line looking good. Memo to the loser New York Football Giants, my favorite team, who lose Andrew Thomas, and they look like they should be playing in the ACC. The Jets lose Elijah Vera Tucker, and they're running for 1 million yards per carry against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a real operation. And Tanner Eggstrand, I'll say this for the Jets fans. This offense keeps looking like this. You're going to have 1 year of Tanner Eggstrand because he's going to be a head coach somewhere else next year. But what a start for him. And even in defeat, I was so impressed by the Jets. And the Jets have some injury luck on their side in this game as it concerns their opponent, the 1-0 Buffalo Bills, who obviously were on the other side of that rousing comeback last week against the Baltimore Ravens, which cost me some money, which was no fun. Ed Oliver, who might have been the Bills' best defensive player in that game on Sunday night. Ed Oliver is out for this game today for Buffalo, and it's a multi-week injury for Ed Oliver. Teron Johnson and Tre'Davious White in Buffalo secondary also questionable today for the Bills, while Josh Reynolds is out for the Jets. You know, the rap. I'll say this about Josh Reynolds as a wide receiver. The guy can block his ass off. So doing You Better You Bet throughout the week this week. And it's not that, like, the guests that we have on the show win all the time. Like, I think that they're all really smart, but nobody wins all the time. So I don't say this to present this as, like, a lock bet. There's no such thing. Basically, everyone I talk to this week likes the New York Jets to keep this game close, maybe even win the game outright, but at the very least, keep the game close. And the over's been getting bet up as well throughout the week, most notably when Ed Oliver was declared out for this game. And the more I've thought about this game, the more I come down on the side that my guests on You Better You Bet, and you can search You Bet, find it in podcast form, that they are correct. And that I think the Jets can keep this game close as well. And it's a pretty easy on-field handicap to figure out. The Buffalo Bills, and I don't think Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl this year. I don't care what happened last Sunday. I don't think like Josh Allen might be the best player in the league besides for Patrick Mahomes. This defense stinks. They allowed 8.2 yards per carry last week against the Baltimore Ravens, which did include design runs for Lamar Jackson. Guess what you're going to get today from the New York Jets offense? You think we're going to see some runs with Justin Fields? I would think so. Breece Hall looked awesome last week. They got the three-headed running back monster with Hall and Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. I see no reason why the Jets shouldn't be able to run all over this undersized Buffalo Bills defensive front. Now, on the flip side, the thing that concerns you if you're a Jets fan, if you want to bet the Jets, Josh Allen has I could have just ended the sentence there. Josh Allen. But Josh Allen has ethered the Aaron Glenn defense in a couple meetings with Buffalo against Detroit. So, and we did see the Jets defense get shredded last week by Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen's way better than Aaron Rodgers at this stage in both of their careers. So if the game starts and Buffalo is able to build a lead, and this is what I've been saying about the Jets all offseason, can the Jets come back? Can they throw the football enough to be able to come back from a multi-score deficit? They get down 13-0, 14-0. How do they come back in this game? That would be my concern. But I do come down on the side of the Jets. I have a small bet on the Jets plus the 6.5 to cover the spread in today's game. So let's go, baby. Jets. Cover, cover, cover. Let's go, Jets. For props. Justin Fields of gold. Justin Fields' rushing yards prop today is 41.5 after Lamar Jackson had 70 yards last week, including some design runs. What do we think's going to happen in this game? He could go under, of course, but I'll take my shot on the over there with Justin Fields. And Josh Allen's rushing yards number is 33.5. In his last two games against Aaron Glenn run defenses in Detroit, 78 and 68 rushing yards for Buffalo's quarterback. I was reading Evan Silva, who does a great job covering the NFL for the website Establish the Run and the podcast Establish the Run. He noted how much man defense Aaron Glenn plays, obviously, as running a defense, and how Josh Allen should be able to have some success running the football in this game. So I'll go both quarterbacks over rushing yards, Fields and Allen. As far as anytime touchdowns go, let's go with, because the Jets have all three running backs, and if this game gets a little loose, I think you'll see some Isaiah Davis, anytime touchdown, and you know how we do it with Buffalo's running backs. James Cook is the number one, but all three play, Cook, Davis, and Ty Johnson, so we bet the longest price. That would be Ty Johnson, anytime touchdown for the Buffalo Bills. All right, let's stay in the AFC East, and we go to South Beach. Fun place to go. As the Miami Dolphins sitting as 2.5-point home favorites against the New England Patriots. The total in this game, 43.5. This game is ridiculous, and the setup is absolutely ridiculous as well. Let's get to some injury stuff here. For Miami, the entire right side of the offensive line is out. Guard James Daniels and tackle Austin Jackson. And their best corner, you may hear this name and think I'm making this up. This is a real person. He's Darkwing's nephew, Storm Duck. Real person, not making that up. Out for the Miami Dolphins. The bad news for the New England Patriots. Christian Gonzalez, their number one corner, remains out, hasn't practiced since the end of July. And when he's out, that means Carlton Davis becomes the number one corner. And Carlton Davis is a fine number two, but you saw it last week. Carlton Davis got shredded a number of times by Geno Smith and the Raiders. He's not a number one. He's a boom-bust corner. So this could portend well for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So as far as this game is concerned, we saw the Miami Dolphins, and I actually think, and I don't know if there's I don't think anyone tracks this stuff statistically. The Miami Dolphins last week, this is Nick Kostos research, some crack research by Nick Kostos. You ready for this? The Miami Dolphins actually set an NFL record this past week. And it had nothing to do with the performance on the field. They had a players-only meeting after the first game of the season because they were dominated and embarrassed so thoroughly by Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. What an absolute joke. Coach Capri Pants Mike McDaniel wearing his Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones as his team's getting their ass kicked. Like a broke boy, like me back in the day when I'm making $25,000 producing radio, saving up to buy a Gucci watch. Wow, great, I got a Gucci watch. I'm also poor. Awesome. Here's Mike McDaniel with Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones. His team's going to have a players-only meeting after the game. Hey, coach, maybe put on a pair of Skechers. Get over yourself, dude. Unbelievable for the Miami Dolphins. And yet, the Miami Dolphins have been getting bet over the course of the week. If you're asking yourself, why the hell would that be? It's kind of like a stock market sort of deal. This is like kind of buying low on Enron in 1998. The NFL is the ultimate zigzag week-to-week league in all of sports, obviously, and the thought being that with Christian Gonzalez out, the Dolphins could have some success throwing the ball down the field. And to be fair, my guy, Drake, it's gonna be May. Not impressive last week against the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Patriots not impressive against the Las Vegas Raiders. When I did say it's maybe the stupidest setup for a game ever, where Miami, who was the worst team in the NFL last week, is getting bet. I can only look towards New England here. And I know that there are some sharp bettors who like Miami, who bet Miami at like -1.5, and it's 2.5 now. I have to go against this because the Patriots might be bad, but the Patriots at least haven't quit. So I have a small bet on the Patriots plus the points. But anything can happen in this game. Pats could win big. Pats could win small. Dolphins could win big. Dolphins could win small. You might want to pay Patriots money line, Patriots alts, Dolphins alts. Anything can happen in this game. I come down on the side of the Patriots because I don't believe the Patriots have quit. As far as props go, I will get more into the Patriots receiving core when we talk about fantasy football a little later. Let's stick with the tight ends here after what Tyler Warren did to this Miami Dolphins defense last week because, dun dun, it's time to play the game. Dun dun, time to play the game. That's Hunter Hurst Henry, over 34.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns, Austin Hooper, the other tight end for New England. And I don't know who this guy, I actually don't know who he is. I think he's James's son. I'll be back. Tanner Connor, Darren Waller still out for the Dolphins. Surprise, surprise. And Tanner Connor saw snaps and got a couple targets last week from Tua Tagovailoa. All right, Bengals and the Jaguars in Cincinnati. I will do a quick refresh of my BetMGM screen because it's Sunday morning and the lines are moving. So we are at right now, let's see. This son of a bitch takes so long to load, man. Just websites in general. All right, Bengals, a 3.5-point home favorite, but we are close to going down to 3. The total here is 49. Not a lot going on here from an injury perspective, which is awesome when we're talking about games. So last week, both of these teams won. Cincinnati beat Cleveland 17-16. The Jaguars dominated the Carolina Panthers 26-10. I think there are holes to be poked in both these teams following last week. And Cincinnati's an easy one. 7 yards of total offense for Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the second half last week. And, a couple dropped Browns, passes leading to interceptions, a missed extra point and a short field goal and a missed short field goal from Cleveland's rookie kicker. Gift wrap, basically, the Bengals a win in week 1. And for Jacksonville, look, and I bet the Jaguars to win the AFC South before the season. I love the Jaguars this year. You watch that game, and it had that ridiculous, lightning delay for over an hour. That was way more about Carolina being terrible than it was Jacksonville being good. Trevor Lawrence specifically, and I'm still a Trevor Lawrence fan. I might be the last one. Trevor Lawrence missing tons of passes down the field in this game, most notably to Brian Thomas Jr. So I don't think either of these teams were that impressive in week 1. So I wanted to offer that as some backdrop for the analysis I'm about to give. So the way I see it here, there's no way, what do I feel more confident in? Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense bouncing back, or Trevor Lawrence having a better game coming up in week 2? And as big a Trevor Lawrence fan as I am, I have to default to what we saw in the national championship game when Joe Burrow and LSU absolutely wrecked and mollywopped Trevor Lawrence and Clemson. I want the number to come down to 3. I don't want to lay 3.5. I want to lay 3. We're not there yet, and maybe we don't get there. What I want to do is lay 3 with Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and the Bengals. I think you get a big-time offensive bounce back from them. Now, the prop that I want to play in this game is actually going to be on the Jacksonville side because the Bengals guys are all priced correctly, I think. And I have not used this joke in a while, so I want everybody to get ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Dun dun. Time to play the game. We'll go with Travis Hunter Hurst Helmsley over 48.5 receiving yards. If you want to play, you can basically play, I think, any of these guys. I like all of them today. You can just say I like them all. Anytime touchdowns. We saw Tank Bigsby. We'll talk about the Jaguars running back group when we talk fantasy. Tank Bigsby get traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. So Travis Etienne should be the one for now. Bashal Tootin the 2. But 7th rounder LaQuint Allen. He plays in passing situations. He's a great pass protector. LaQuint Allen anytime touchdown. And then we see the Bengals play a whole host of tight ends. Let's play Drew Sample, because I used to love going to Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City and eating tons of free samples so I didn't have to pay for a meal. Did I mention I used to have no money? Moving on to the Ravens and the Browns. And I just want to give a quick shout out here to Joe Flacco. First time since leaving the Ravens following the 2018 season that Joe Flacco goes up against his former team. And Joe Flacco, in 2012, when I was hashtag wacko for Flacco, Mark Malusis knows all about it, bet the Ravens in every game on the money line that postseason, beat the Broncos, beat the Patriots, beat Colin Kaepernick and the Niners. Big time shout out to Baltimore Raven, Joe Flacco, because we were hashtag wacko for Flacco. The Ravens, 11.5-point favorites following their gutless collapse last week against Buffalo. Can you tell I bet them? Total in the game sitting at 45. Isaiah Likely once again out for the Ravens. Quinshon Judkins, rookie out of Ohio State running back, will make his NFL debut in this game. Likely will be the number 2 behind fellow rookie. You know what I want? I want to talk to Sampson. Dylan Sampson. And Jerome Ford is in that backfield as well. This is the game this week that I have the least conviction on as far as side and total are concerned. I think the Ravens are very likely to win, obviously. I know they lost last week, week 2 against the Raiders, following a week 1 gut punch against Kansas City, and some people have bet the Browns for that. Well, look what happened last year. Maybe that's correct. Baltimore's way better than Cleveland, even if Cleveland's young players all looked pretty good last week. So I think the Ravens will win. I think they should be favored by more than 10, and less than 13, this looks about right to me. Total looks about right. I don't know how the Browns are scoring that much in this game, and maybe you think the Browns defense can hold down the Ravens offense. This game is a total pass for me as far as side and total are concerned. But we will have some props. Last week, I told you all about Harold Fannin Jr. of the Cleveland Browns, and he was a name to watch for. We bet him anytime touchdown. Oh, he had like 1 million targets in the game, and I think he was a pretty hot waiver wire pickup this week, especially in deeper leagues or in tight end premium leagues. This week, I think we need to zig while others zag and go back to David Njoku, who is at a depressed number this week. David Njoku over 39.5 receiving yards. Also a fun storyline in this game, Browns safety Grant Delpit, who probably has brain damage, and I say that as I don't mean that seriously. Grant Delpit said this week that Derrick Henry is easy to tackle. And Derrick Henry took note of that and talked about it a little bit in media availability. Let's play Derrick Henry 125 plus rushing yards, 125 or more, at plus 230 at BetMGM. Anytime touchdowns, and again, these are meant to be small money bets, the anytime touchdown bets. And obviously, always bet within your means, just in case it goes awry. Like you want to be able to live to bet another day. We got 2 Monday Night Football games tomorrow. Please bet within your means. Anytime touchdowns here. I want to take a shot on 2 Browns running backs, both at longer prices. Let's play Judkins making his NFL debut, and let's play Raheem Sanders. I didn't even know who that was last week, and I know every player in the league. He scored a goal line touchdown for the Browns last week. He is at a long price here. Again, these are meant to be small money bets. Also, I believe this was like the runner-up to be Steve Martin's character's name in Only Murders in the Building. Zaire Mitchell-Payton is Baltimore's 3rd tight end with Isaiah Likely out. And he played a bunch in 2 tight end sets last week along with Charlie Kohler. Zaire Mitchell-Payton, anytime touchdown. I know, it sounds like a made-up name, but it's not. And if the Ravens are up big in this game, I think that we will see, coming in at running back to close it out, because Keaton Mitchell was inactive last week, Rasheen Ali, fabulous he, Ali Ababwa. Rasheen Ali, last touchdown, not first, not anytime. Last touchdown for Rasheen Ali, fabulous he, Ali Ababwa. Strong as 10 regular men. Definitely. All right, Giants fans. Like me. How'd you feel last week watching that game against the Commanders? Did you feel better or worse watching what the Packers did to the Commanders on Thursday night? The Commanders did to the Giants what the Packers did to the Commanders. Year 4, Dable and Shane look like one of the worst teams in the league again. I would say you can't make it up, and it's unbelievable. But really, it's totally believable, isn't it? The Cowboys, 5.5-point home favorites against the Giants. Total in the game, 44.5. Andrew Thomas is doubtful for Big Blue. And you know what that means, based on, and even with Micah Parsons no longer in Dallas. Like the Giants, I guess they could potentially protect Russell Wilson. I don't see it happening because it never happens when Andrew Thomas doesn't play. One piece of good news for the Giants. Deron Bland, one of Dallas's corners, he is out. This spread was 6 earlier in the week and got bet off 6 because of that news that Deron Bland is out. So, with no Andrew Thomas, there's no way that I can bet the Giants in this game. I can't do it. And Dak Prescott last week for the Cowboys in the season opener against the Philadelphia Eagles only threw for 188 yards, and the Dallas Cowboys lost the game. And if you're like a box score moron who just wants to say, hey, he didn't play that great, no touch, 188 yards, he wasn't that good. Well, maybe here's a suggestion for you, dope. Watch the game. Just watch football. Dak was unbelievable in that game against the Eagles. Precision throws. The arm looked great. He's lost some weight. Maybe he got some from Brian Dable. Oh, Zempic, Dak looked awesome last week. I would never bet the Giants here. I think Dak, if they can get pass protection, and the offensive line did look good last week and held up against the Eagles, albeit without Jalen Carter, if Dallas's offensive line can hold up against Abdul Carter and Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau and Sexy Dexy, Dak's going to throw for 300 yards in this game. If I had to bet the game, I would lay the points with Dallas. If I had to bet the total, I'd bet the over. I think Dallas is a good money line parlay piece, and I played the Dallas Cowboys in a big money survivor league, Dallas this week against the Giants. So, my guess is that the Giants lose, and Jackson Dart will start next week. What a place to debut Sunday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's my guess. Dallas wins. Dart starts next week on Sunday Night Football in the home opener, and at least the crowd will be jazzed for that. Get something to cheer about, at least before the game starts. Props. George Pickens. It was the best of times and the worst of times for Mr. Pickens. Over 56.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to get a couple downfield shots from Dak Prescott in this game. Anytime touchdowns, I want to take a look at 2 wide receivers at long prices, one on each team. The Cowboys just called up receiver Ryan Flournoy from the practice squad. Plays primarily on special teams, but Dallas, I don't think, is that enthused with Jalen Tolbert in that receiving core. So let's play Flournoy, like small money bet at a huge price. And how about, I talked about him last week, Bo Collins for the New York Football Giants at a long price to score for Big Blue today. Super Bowl 34 rematch with the Rams and the Titans. Where's Kevin Dyson and Mike Jones when you need him? The LA Rams, 5.5-point road favorites, total in the game sitting at 41.5. We thought earlier in this week that the Rams would be without both their starting guards, Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson. As it turns out, only one is out, and that's Steve Avila. Dotson's going to play. And the reason why I say this is because earlier in the week, the thought was going to be, well, the Titans have these 2 monster defensive tackles in Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat. So if the guards aren't going to play and Simmons and Sweat both play, Tennessee's got a big advantage up front. Well, Dotson's playing, and now Sweat is out. So I think the Titans lose that advantage. Tennessee also without right tackle J.C. Latham. They spent the top 10 pick on him last year in this game. So the injury report went very well for the Rams over the course of the week. Cam Ward made his NFL debut last week against the Denver Broncos. I thought he was fine. He has no players around him. Calvin Ridley, his number 1 receiver, dropped a bunch of passes, and I think his head coach has zero brain activity. Literally does not know the rules of professional football. Don't believe me? Google Brian Callahan doesn't know the rules. And watch what he had to say at a press conference earlier this week after he blew a non-challenge last week against Denver. Like, this guy might be the drizzling you-know-what as an NFL head coach. He might be the absolute worst. And that takes us to this game, right, where Sean McVay is maybe the best offensive coach of this generation. And Cam Ward's got no one around him. And the offensive line's down a player. And here's that Rams electric defensive front with Jared Verse and company. If I had to bet this game, I'd lay the Los Angeles Rams, and I also like the under in the game as well. A little less than I did earlier in the week, and candidly, like, yeah, it's the truth, you know. I suck at totals. I just like to bet. So I like the under. Do whatever the hell you want with the total. I'm not presenting it as this great bet. Yardage props. Devontae Adams doesn't have the Houston Texans secondary to contend with anymore. Devontae Adams, over 59.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns. Tyler Lockett plays the slot for Tennessee. Lockett, anytime touchdown at a long price. And then the Rams have two tight ends that they play, in addition to Tyler Higbee, who's at a long price. There's, Davis Allen, and then Colby Parkinson. And when I think about Al Michaels doing his signature touchdown call, the joke that I always make is, and it's Colby Parkinson, which I just think is funny. Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, anytime touchdowns for the Rams. Tyler Lockett for the Tennessee Titans. We move on to Detroit for Lions and Bears. Oh my. The Lions, 6.5-point home favorites, total in the game sitting at 46.5. Jalen Johnson, Chicago's number one corner, will play in this game, as will defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. Kyler Gordon, Chicago's outstanding slot corner, is out. And Taylor Decker, Detroit's stud right tackle, didn't practice all week, listed as questionable on the injury report. I would say unlikely to play, but we will find out an hour and a half before kickoff. Now the Bears had that awesome opening drive on Monday night against Minnesota, and it all fell apart for Caleb Williams, who could not complete the forward pass, who seems like he can only play out of structure, which is bad when you're an NFL quarterback, and like missing open receivers all over the field. Like, not great. It's not what you want from Caleb Williams, as former Yankee manager Joe Girardi would say. It's not what you want from Caleb Williams, year one under Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson himself had a critical time management error at the end of the game as far as kicking deep and not kicking the ball out of bounds, helping the Vikings run the clock out and basically win the game on Monday night. So not a great debut for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. Detroit got trucked by the Green Bay Packers last Sunday at Lambeau, and after Thursday night, with the Packers slamming the Commanders, I feel a little bit better about the Lions after that, just being honest with everybody, after what Green Bay did to Washington. Now, I do think Detroit is very likely to win this game, improve to 1-1. But as far as betting the spread goes, I actually like the Bears here to cover. And I said all offseason that, and this changed once the Packers got Micah Parsons, because the Green Bay was never missing the playoffs if they stay healthy with getting Micah Parsons, that you could make a case for any team in the NFC North to win the division and a case for any team in the NFC North to come in last in the division. Again, that changed when the Packers got Parsons. So I do think Detroit is better than Chicago, on paper. I don't know if they're this much better than the Chicago Bears. It's Ben Johnson going up against his former team. He obviously was the offensive coordinator in Detroit the last couple years. And I think the Bears are going to keep this game closer than expected. So give me the Bears plus the 6.5. It makes me nervous with Caleb Williams. And maybe we see Tyson, secret agent man, playing at some point this year. But for now, I'll take Caleb and the Bears plus the points against Detroit. 1 yardage prop, Rome Odunze. It was built in a day. We're betting his yardage prop. Over 48.5 receiving yards. 1 anytime touchdown. This guy is mispriced big time in the market. That's Cole Kmet. He basically played as a full-time tight end last week. Colston Loveland, the 10th overall pick in the draft, played as well. Kmet is not priced correctly in this game. Give me Cole Kmet anytime touchdown. Steelers and the Seahawks in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers and company, 3-point home favorites, total 40.5. Devin Witherspoon, Seattle's best corner, is doubtful. Rookie safety Nick Emenwari is out for the Seahawks. For Pittsburgh, down 3 starters on defense. Deshaun Elliott, one of their starting safeties, they had to sign former Giant Jabril Peppers. Derek Harmon, the first-round defensive tackle, continues to be out. And cornerback Joey Porter Jr. also out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some people I know, some sharp bettors, do like the over in this game, 40.5. I think this point spread is perfect. Steelers by 3. Seattle's defense is really good. And Mike McDonald, and maybe we're having a different conversation about this game, if Mike McDonald actually like shows some guts and some testicular fortitude and goes for it on 4th and 1 last week against San Francisco instead of kicking the field goal. I mean, you should give him a primetime show on Fox News. The guy's so conservative. It's ridiculous from Mike McDonald. Ridiculous. But the Seahawks defense is awesome. And I would expect, while I love Aaron Rodgers, I don't think we're going to see Aaron Rodgers throw 4 touchdowns against the Seattle Seahawks defense. But I'm also not a Sam Darnold guy, and the Seahawks offense is lacking weapons. I'll pass this game. I think Pittsburgh's likely to win. I actually think Pittsburgh's likely to win by 3 points. Yardage prop. You know me. I love Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers over 233.5 passing yards. Anytime touchdowns. Let's go with George's great-great-great-grandson, Darnell Washington. He's 6 foot, 7 foot. Darnell Washington, anytime touchdown. And then Bronson's son for Seattle, Elijah Arroyo, anytime touchdown. And hopefully A-Rod doesn't smack the ball out of his hands as he's crossing the goal line. Okay, Niners and the Saints in New Orleans. A lot going on here. These former NFC West rivals. A lot going on here from an injury perspective. Brock Purdy out, and he's going to miss a couple weeks with turf toe, a variant of turf toe, like this is COVID-19. Brock Purdy out for San Francisco. George Kittle placed on injured reserve. Trent Williams is a game-time decision. You know, just their Hall of Fame left tackle. Jawan Jennings, though, is expected to play for the Niners. Mac Jones will start at quarterback for San Fran, and his cell phone number, 281-330-8004. The New Orleans Saints down Trevor Penning on the line. Chase Young's not going to play, and right tackle Talise Fuaga may not play in this game as well. So when the news was announced that Brock Purdy was not going to play, Kittle placed on IR, the line crashed down and is settled at Niners -3. I actually, if I had to bet this game, I would actually take the points with the Saints. Spencer Rattler, I thought, acquitted himself very well last week in the opener for New Orleans against the Arizona Cardinals. And Trent Williams, who might not play in this game, he's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. He looked like a human turnstile. Got beaten like a drum by Boye Mafe, not exactly Lawrence Taylor, for the Seattle Seahawks. And with George Kittle out and Jennings banged up, it's Christian McCaffrey and Ricky Pearsall, basically, for Mac Jones. And Kellen Moore had some horrendous clock management at the end of the first half here. I thought he was pretty good in his first game as an NFL head coach. And I don't love this Niners defense. If you made me bet this game, I'd actually take the 3 with New Orleans. And it looks like bettors agree, because that's where this line is moving towards right now, potentially down to 2.5. 1 yardage prop, Rashid Shaheed over 39.5 receiving yards. 9 targets last week for Rashid Shaheed for the New Orleans Saints. 1 anytime touchdown. Let's play Lorenzo's son, Devin Neal, for the New Orleans Saints. Cardinals and the Panthers in the desert. Arizona, 6.5-point favorite. Total 44.5. Now, I liked Arizona a lot coming into the year. I bet them to win the division. I bet them to make the postseason, bet them over the win total. And honestly, like that division bet, you out there watching and listening, even if you don't like the Cardinals, that's the bet to make in the NFC West at price right now. The Niners play the Cardinals next week, and Brock Purdy is extremely unlikely to play in that game. So I love the Cardinals this year, right? I want to offer that I'm biased towards Arizona. My thought on this game has 0 to do with Arizona and everything to do with Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Because Bryce Young is slow and short, like me. Except I'm sitting in an office right now talking football. He's starting at quarterback in an NFL game. He might be the worst quarterback in the league. And I don't say that to bag on him. It's not personal at all. He can turn it around. I don't have to be right. He was absolutely horrific last week against the Jaguars. And that's what he looked like his rookie year and the beginning of the season last year before he got benched for Andy Dalton. And if that's what this is going to be, the Panthers are actually the worst team in the league this year. I will lay Arizona. My bet on Arizona is basically that Bryce Young stinks. So if you're out there listening and watching and you disagree, you need to bet Carolina, because this is a big number for Arizona to be favored by. It's a big number. So if you think Bryce Young can turn it around, I actually think you should bet the Panthers. And if you're with me and you think Bryce Young stinks, you could bet Arizona, or you could bet Arizona alts, -9.5, etc. 1 yardage prop. Last week we gave you Marvin Harrison Jr. He went over. This week with J.C. Horn likely to shadow Marv, let's play tight end Trey, father of McBride, over 62.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns here. This one's in honor of my friend Mike Garafolo. Let's play Trey Benson anytime touchdown for the Arizona Cardinals. Turn your love around. Dun, 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 dun. I can show you how. And Tip Riemann, Arizona's backup tight end, actually got a bunch of targets last week for Arizona. Broncos and the Colts in Indianapolis. The Peyton Manning Bowl. Denver, a 2.5-point road favorite, total 43.5. Colts top corner Trevarius Ward is out in this game with a concussion, which is good news for Cortland Sutton and the Broncos passing offense. I can make this pretty simple here. I love the Broncos here. And this does shape up as a pros versus Joes game from a betting perspective, where a bunch of people I talk to that I respect like Indianapolis in this game. And a bunch of public bettors, and maybe I fall under that umbrella, at least for this game, Joe Public likes Denver. Now, I love my first name. Nick's kind of a badass name. You know, if I couldn't be Nick, call me Joe. Call me Joe Public. I want Daniel Jones to prove it to me against a team and a defense that hasn't quit, like the Dolphins did last week. Giants fans, are we getting gaslighted here by what we saw? I don't even know if I'm using that term correctly. It's just like everyone says it, so whatever. It's like the buzzword, whatever. Are we getting gaslighted by what Daniel Jones did last week? Like, we watch, he's not good, right? Like, we know that. Maybe Shane Steichen's just that good of a coach and Dable's that bad. Certainly possible. I think you're going to have to peel Daniel Jones off the turf with the spatula going up against the Broncos defense in this game. And I think you get a Bo Nix bounce back. Give me the Broncos here laying the points. Broncos as a money line piece as well. 1 yardage prop, Cortland Sutton over 65.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns. Let's play whoever the Broncos' third running back is who's active. Tyler Bidet. Make your own jokes. Or Jaleel McLaughlin, the group. Wrong. And for Indianapolis, I love me some A.D. Mitchell. Super Bowl rematch. Eagles and the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Philly, a 1-point road favorite. Total in the game is 47. Dallas Goedert and Xavier Worthy both out in this game for Philly and KC, respectively. If you made me pick a winner of this game, I would bet the Chiefs, but with not a ton of confidence. But I would bet Kansas City. The bet that I do like in this game is the over, but I need 46.5 to make the bet, not 47. Over 46.5. The Eagles' pass defense, I said it all summer leading into week 1, is going to be a problem. Giants fans, we know this. Adoree Jackson got absolutely toasted by Dallas last week. He's going to start again for the Eagles at corner, which means that the rest of their options are terrible. And I know Jalen Carter's back, and I know that Xavier Worthy's out. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs passing offense will have some success in this game against the Philly defense. And on the flip side, you know, a lot will be made of Travis Kelce and his performance last Friday in Brazil against the Chargers. Like, you know, just short-arming a potential touchdown catch and injuring one of his own teammates. You know, Travis, we can deal with all the podcasts and the GQ magazine covers where you're trying to look like Razor Ramon, rest in peace to Scott Hall. When you're playing, well, if you're going to be injuring teammates, maybe let's take a week off from the podcast. The Chiefs' defense was the real story in that game. Specifically, the pass defense was terrible against Justin Herbert and the Bolts. And that's not to take away from what Justin Herbert did. He was magnificent. But I'm worried about this Chiefs' defense. And if Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen can do what they did against the secondary, what are A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith about to do? Over 46.5 for me with Philly and KC. 1 yardage prop, Devontae Smith over 62.5 receiving yards with Dallas Goedert out. And 1 anytime touchdown with Goddard out. Backup tight end Kylen Granson at a big number for Philadelphia. Last one, Sunday Night Football. The rematch of the 1998 NFC Championship game. I don't think Gary Anderson will be flipping the memorial coin toss or blowing the skull horn to start the game. Vikings, a 3.5-point favorite against Atlanta. The total is 45. I'm just going to check a refresh here. We may go down to 3. We're not there yet. But Atlanta has been the preferred betting side all week, and that is because Drake London and Darnell Mooney are both going to play today for Atlanta. Both Falcons receivers will play for Michael Penix Jr., and Minnesota is without star left tackle Christian Darrisaw, starting corner Jeff Okudah, and stud pass rusher Andrew Van Ginkel. So this is a positive injury report here for Atlanta and a negative one for Minnesota. Now, I'm a huge Michael Penix Jr. guy. I think I've made that abundantly clear. And he's going to be facing the Brian, and I want the Giant, I'll just say this now. I want Brian Flores to be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants. I love him. Penix is going to get blitzed all game. I have confidence in his ability to get the ball out quick and beat this blitz. And on the flip side, J.J. McCarthy had an awesome fourth quarter against the Chicago Bears in his NFL debut. The Bears were down 4 defensive starters in the fourth quarter. I will take Atlanta in this game. I bet a number that no longer exists earlier in the week. It has to be over 3. Falcons plus 3.5 would still be a bet for me. Yardage prop, Darnell. When you get caught between the Mooney and New York City. Darnell Mooney over 38.5 receiving yards, 1 anytime touchdown. Josh Oliver Twist, Minnesota's backup tight end, at a long price. Coming up next, fantasy football breakdown for every game, and we will have a deeper dive into props. 888-808-1019 is the phone number. We'll try and sneak a couple in. Your fantasy and betting questions, 888-808-1019. It's You Better You Bet on the Fan with me, Nick Kostos, and you, whoever the hell you are, presented by BetMGM.
It's Sunday Night Baseball with the Yankees and Red Sox.
Victory for the New York Yankees here at Fenway.
7:10 tonight, driven by Jeep.
Got a lot of carry. Giddy up, Bob. Giddy up and gone. A home run for Jazz Chisholm.
Susan Waldman and Dave Sims call all the play-by-play. The home of Yankees baseball is The Fan. 101.9 FM and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Every NFL touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WFAN. That's code WFAN to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. 21 and over. New York only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
Talk New York sports on The Fan.
Hey, FanDuel is getting you ready for kickoff with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You could build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is finally here, and the only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/Boomer to download the FanDuel app today and get started. That's FanDuel.com/Boomer. Now, we all love the app around here. It is safe, secure, and when you win, you get paid instantly. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of WFAN.
21 and over and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issues, non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with the gambling problem, go 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Transforming your land with a John Deere compact tractor is as easy as connect, latch, load, haul, spread. Cutting grass is as simple as roll, click, mow. Box blading is as effortless as hook, lock, grade. And backhoeing is as convenient as turn around, switch, dig. Because when you've got the versatility to tackle just about any job and dealer support in your own backyard, you just have to get in the seat. Find the right compact tractor for you at johndeere.com.
Let me tell you about this new Pretzel Cheddar Club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Talk New York sports here. The Fan. It's Sunday morning. Time to plug into everything NFL. Time for your best bets and fantasy fix. It's time for You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM. Here's your host, Nick Kostos.
Kostos here with you. Glorious Week 2 NFL Sunday on The Fan. 888-808-1019 is the phone number. 888-808-1019. We'll try and sneak a couple in. Listen, we're early in the season. Every team's playing. Got a lot to say. Fantasy and prop betting nuggets now for every game as we dive deep. How deep, you ask? Bills and the Jets at MetLife Stadium. So Keon Coleman was the star last week for Buffalo in the receiving corps against Baltimore. I was worried about Khalil Shakir. I said as much last week. Shakir had a high ankle sprain for Buffalo in training camp. That's a terrible injury for skill position players. Shakir had 6 for 64 on 9 targets. I'm starting Shakir with confidence in a couple PPR and half PPR leagues today. I was nervous last week, not so nervous this week. 2 tight end notes in this game. Dalton Kincaid looked really good last week for Buffalo. But this is per Nate Yonke, who does an awesome job for Pro Football Focus, tracking player utilization. Dawson Knox actually played more snaps last week than Dalton Kincaid. So I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on the Dalton Kincaid love fest. And for the Jets, Mason Taylor's going to play in this game today. He was questionable on the injury report. Jason Son, that's actually true. He's good to go. I don't know if it's going to happen today for Mason Taylor, but I mean, with Garrett Wilson is the lone the trustworthy pass catcher on this team, I think it happens for Mason Taylor, possibly today, but at some point here in the near future for the Jets. Patriots and the Dolphins. This is the week for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. If Tyreek specifically can't break off a big one this week with Christian Gonzalez out, it might be curtains for him in Miami. And I think it's actually more likely at this point that he ends the season as either a Chief or a Steeler than a Miami Dolphin. Now, as for the Patriots, I gave you a Hunter Henry prop earlier in the show. I'd love to attack this Dolphins secondary with receivers like Stephon, Can You Diggs It, Sucka, Shout out to the Harlem Heat fans. Or Kayshawn, booty, 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 rocking everywhere. But I don't know how this is going to go for the Patriots receiving core. I did pick up Kayshawn, booty, 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 rocking everywhere in a bunch of leagues. I'm not starting him today. He is the only receiver in the NFL who in the last 2 games, which is Week 18 last year, Week 1 this year, to go over 100 receiving yards. My pal Greg Rosenthal of NFL Media tweeted that out this week. So I'm not betting Diggs or Booty, but I think both could have big games for the New England Patriots. Jaguars and the Bengals. Start everybody. There's my advice. And take a look at Jaguars tight end Brenton Strange, Doctor's son, who could play well in this game for Jacksonville and looks like a trusted pass catcher for Trevor Lawrence. As far as the Jaguars running backs go, so Tank Bigsby got traded to the Eagles. Travis Etienne will be the one in this game. If I had to bet on one of these guys over the balance of the full season, it's rookie Bashal Tutin, and it's not even close. Let other people in your league get obsessed and get infatuated with Travis Etienne. Me, I'm a rootin' Bashal Tutin guy for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Browns and the Ravens. I'm going back to David Njoku this week. Talked about that when we were betting props with this game. But if Harold Fannon's out there on the waiver wire, Fannin, only the real rap fans will get that reference. Make sure that he's owned, especially in PPR and tight end premium. The Browns running backs, I expect it to go. Dylan, you know what I want. I want to talk to Sampson to be the 1 today. Quinshot and Judkins to be the 2. I think Judkins will eventually take over as the number 1 running back. And what I want to see from Baltimore today, can Zay Flowers bring April showers, whatever? Can he do what he did last week and have that legit third-year breakout to be a legitimate fantasy football wide receiver 1? I have my doubts. Let's see how that goes today. Giants and the Cowboys. Will Jaden Blue be active for Dallas? He was inactive last week. He might not be, but if he is, don't bet him, don't start him in fantasy, but watch out for Jaden Blue, who's got the most juice in that Cowboys backfield. And as far as the Giants are concerned, let's see how this running back rotation goes with Tracy and Scatabo. Even Devin Singletary played last week. I think Tracy's going to be the number 1. Dick's grandson. But, I wouldn't be shocked if Scatabo saw more touches this week. And Wan'Dale Robinson comes into this game a little banged up. I'm curious if we see Jalen Hyatt or Bo Collins play a little more for Big Blue. Rams and the Titans. Alec Ayamaner is one of Tennessee's rookie receivers. He started on the outside last week. If you're in a deep league and he's out there on the wire, go pick him up. And the Rams basically, 4 guys touch the ball. There's nothing to talk about. Lions and the Bears. So, Rome Odunze looks like Chicago's wide receiver 1. I bet him today. Just keep in mind if you've got DJ Moore, Caleb Williams missed him on a number of throws last week. I think both guys could potentially play well today for Chicago. If you drafted Luther Burden in fantasy, he played behind Olamide Zaccheaus on Monday Night Football. That could happen again today. I am holding Luther Burden where I can. I think he's a stud. There's a stud. Their second-round receiver out of Missouri. And for the Lions, we talked about Isaac Tesla last week. Had a ridiculous one-handed touchdown grab at the end of the game. They say they need to get him more playing time. If he's out there on the wire and you're in a deeper league, go get Isaac Tesla. Seahawks and the Steelers. I'm worried about Kenneth Walker. Looks like an even 50-50 split with him and Zach Charbonnet. Cooper Kupp looks absolutely toast. It could be Torrey Horton, the rookie for Seattle, his time sooner rather than later. Niners and the Saints. Christian McCaffrey. God, if you're listening, help! God was listening last week. Christian McCaffrey had 31 touches in the game. He is a no-doubt running back 1 this week. Love me some Ricky Pearsall. I love him less with Mac Jones in the lineup. And for the New Orleans Saints, I think, like I talked about with the props, I think this is a good game for Rashid Shaheed, and I also like Chris Olave. Olave for the New Orleans Saints. We move on now to the Panthers and the Cardinals. I will start Marvin Harrison. I'm just tempering expectations going up against J.C. Horn. Love me some Trey McBride today. And Trey Benson looked awesome last week for Arizona running the football. For Carolina, they actually need to get Jalen Coker back, get some juice in this pass core. It's basically just Teteroa McMillan. Broncos and the Colts. So the Broncos receiving core, Troy Franklin played ahead of Marvin Mims last week. This is why he's hot. I think you could see the opposite happen today. Sean Payton, notoriously fickle with his wide receiver rotations. Hard to trust anyone outside of Cortland Sutton. For Indianapolis, how good is star tight end, rookie tight end Tyler Warren. Eagles and the Chiefs, I think big-time bounce-back spots for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And I'm not panicking on Isaiah Pacheco for Kansas City, despite his substandard performance last week against the Los Angeles Chargers. Falcons and the Vikings, I'm starting Penix if I need him. Drake London, Darnell Mooney, obviously. And for Minnesota, Jordan Mason looks like the far superior running back to Aaron Jones. And that does it. If you want the Monday Night Football breakdown, check out my show tomorrow, You Better You Bet, on 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern, nationally. And that does it for the Week 2 NFL Sunday edition of You Better You Bet here on The Fan. Football Sunday with my guy, the great Mark Malusis. He's wacko for Flacco, too. Coming up next.
Love him.
So until we meet again, dear listener, love you. Yeah, Moose, wacko for Flacco, baby. Until we meet again, dear listener. And if I would like, you should tell that story at some point. Next Sunday morning at 8 a.m. I am Nick Kostos wishing you minimal sweats, winning bets, and the absolute very best of luck. Let's get it today. Week 2, NFL Sunday.